question and answer for November 10th, 2023. I'll just do a short meditation with Juliano first. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Greetings, this is Juliano. We are the Arcturians. We come together today to bring our thought powers together with great intensity to work to find answers to questions and to also raise our spiritual light quotient. Know that the mental body is an important part of the spiritual light quotient energy, and engaging in debate, questions, and thought-provoking ideas is one important way of raising your spiritual light quotient. So let us begin.
Okay, Juliano, welcome. And the first question comes from Barton. And he says, Juliano, the answer to my question is important because of the way humans frame their consciousness of time versus current Earth environmental changes. If, for example, the asteroid hit 66 million years ago, then humans may say to themselves, see, time goes on forever, and whatever we humans do to the planet has no consequences. If, on the other hand, the asteroid hit only 13,000 years ago and resulted in an ice age with clear evidence of glaciers reaching as far south as Wisconsin, humans will realize that history happens much faster, and therefore the human race must act now to save our planet's biosphere from destruction. So, Juliano, when did the asteroid hit the planet in the Yucatan Peninsula that resulted in the mass extinction of the dinosaurs? And the second part of his question is, did the asteroid impact in a dimensional shift which changed or folded linear time?
The asteroid striking the Yucatan Peninsula was the beginning of the fifth mass extinction, which happened approximately 66 million years ago. The idea that it happened 13,000 years ago is not correct. There certainly was not enough time, that is 13,000 years, for humans to evolve. Remember that Homo sapien is a derivative or part of Homo erectus, Homo neanderthal, Australopithecus, a long line of similar subsets. And it took a million years for humanity and Homo sapien to evolve. There was no Homo sapien or any derivative of Homo sapien on the Earth when the asteroid struck 66 million years ago. And that asteroid created the destruction or caused the destruction of 90% of the plant and animal life on the Earth. But you raise an interesting point that I want to emphasize, and that is this. We are in a period now that began approximately after the first nuclear bomb was dropped in 1945, where we can say that the humans are shaping and influencing the biosphere, the Earth, and every aspect, every plant and animal on the Earth. I know that this is still controversial, and I know that there are many people who think it's absurd that humans are influencing and changing the Earth and changing the biosphere. But I'm sorry, they are wrong. The humans are changing the atmosphere, the water, even the geology, the nuclear bombs that were dropped, and remember there were numerous testing, changed the Earth's geology. So now we are in a sixth mass extinction. And this mass extinction is caused by human activity. I know that's also controversial, and people would like to hear something different, that this is just a natural course of events. And yes, mass extinctions have occurred 5 other times. But think about this, the mass extinction that happened 66 million years ago approximately, give or take a million years, and I say that jokingly, but it may be accurate. It takes that long for a planet and a biosphere to recover. Now, regarding the dimensional shift, let me use this analogy. The asteroid did not cause a dimensional shift. The third dimension remained. Think about a tree falling in the forest, and there's nobody to hear it. There's no humans, no animals. So one of the great philosophical questions of the 17th and 18th century among the great thinkers at the time is, does the tree falling make a sound if there's nobody to hear it? And of course the answer is no, it doesn't make a sound because there's nobody to hear it. Sound is part of consciousness of the human. If there is no one to hear it, then there's nobody to record the sound. Now, is there a dimensional shift when the asteroid hit? If there's nobody with consciousness there, then how can you define a dimensional shift if there's nobody there to experience it? It's somewhat similar. Now, this is a very complex problem and a philosophical problem, but a short answer is that there was no dimensional shift. It still stayed, the Earth still stayed on the third dimension. Next question, please.
Juliano, this next question comes from Ariana. Juliano, my question has to do with plasma energy and the plasma body. It has been said that plasma energy is the fourth state of matter, and that it is made of free electrons and positively charged ions. Recently, there has been talk about the plasma body. What is the plasma body, and what is the relationship to the light body? Thank you, Ariana.
We don't use the term plasma body, and we can't say that it or describe it the way she did in terms of electrons and etc. But what I can tell you is this. Your blood has plasma in it, and plasma is a key ingredient for the life force energy. The plasma body, or identification with the plasma body, is a stepping stone or a transformational process and state that occurs to get into the light body. We think about the ascension and changing the physical body into a light body. When the physical body vibrates at a certain speed, it goes through a transformation, and one part of that transformation does involve the plasma body. But the plasma body quickly recalibrates itself and aligns itself and transforms itself into the light body. From our perspective, then, we look at the transformation at ascension as a physical process which has spiritual transformational qualities. And there are steps. One of the steps is acceleration of the aura. going into the cosmic egg, shimmering. And then another step would involve the basic chemistry of what you call the plasma body. But the plasma body is really part of the physical body. Now we want, and you want, that part of the life force energy of the plasma body, because it does hold the life force energy. It does hold the chi energy. You want that part to transform into the light body. And therefore, we look at the plasma body as an intermediate step that allows you to go into the light body. But the goal is to go into the light body. The goal is not to stay in the plasma body. Next question.
Thank you, Juliano. The next question is from Chad in Canada, and he has two questions. The first question is, what is the composite vibration of the Earth at this moment? I have heard that the Earth has passed the 4-dimensional mark. His second question is energy work alone, that is healing, prayers, meditation, cosmic radiation, etc., sufficient for the vibrations to continue to rise for a benevolent ET physical intervention, like the landing of ships, the removal of the shadow government from power, and is it also necessary to facilitate ascension? In one of the recent Earth healing sessions, we asked for an intervention of the highest order. Could you please explain?
Prayers and thoughts and meditations are an important part in raising the spiritual light quotient of the planet. The spiritual light quotient of the planet is stuck, and we evaluate it based on whether it is 5th dimensional, not 4th dimensional. We don't go in a linear fashion. That is, we don't go from the 3rd dimension to the 4th to the 5th. We want to bypass the 4th dimension. Remember that the 4th dimension especially has lower vibrations and lower energies, and some of these lower energies attach themselves, sneak through the veil, which is now weakened, allowing the dark spirits to enter and cause mischievous actions and even violence and death and destruction. So we also say that the prayers and the meditations are extremely important, but there is a component that I want to emphasize, and that component is manifestation on the earth. Prayers, especially the arcane thought powers we're doing, are needed desperately because we need to work with the subconscious. We need to change the thought patterns. We need to elevate the spiritual energy field of the earth. And the second part is manifestation of sacred places, manifestation of even Arcturian temple work, manifestation of groups meeting, manifestation of world-wide meditations that I'm going to be talking about later on in this lecture. So therefore, it isn't just meditating and prayers, it is manifestation. And that is one of the reasons why we began talking years ago about an Arcturian temple. Not so much that we wanted to glorify the Arcturians, but rather we wanted a symbol, we wanted a sacred physical area that would represent 5th dimensional sacred thought. And therefore, I would say that let's work on both. Let's work on prayers and the meditations, and let's work on finding other methods of manifestation. And that is the challenge. And that is a great challenge now, because this is the reason why you as starseeds have come to this planet now, incarnated now, because you are here to contribute your thought fields, but you're also here to do what you can for manifestation. And each person may have a different route for that manifestation. One person may want to build a crystal temple, or another person may want to write books that carry the ideas. Another person might want to help build an Arcturian temple. Each manifestation then strengthens the energy work, the thought power, and the prayers and meditation. Now, this is one of our challenges as participating with the Ascended Masters. That is, how do we encourage manifestation? And I think it's a question that each of you need to ask also. How can I, at this time, encourage and help to manifest, even on your personal life? It's not sufficient just to meditate. You want to see some positive change manifested in your life. That's why we talk so much about healing. Yes, it's difficult to talk about the total vibrational energy field of the Earth, especially now when there's so much darkness and polarization. I like to describe this as the end of planetary stage 1. But part of the end of planetary stage 1, which has been accelerated by the transformation to the planet caused and started by the nuclear bomb, man has created major shifts, even dimensional shifts. I can tell you that the nuclear bombs and nuclear energies that has been released has weakened the veil between the lower fourth dimension and the third dimension. I could tell you that there were even experiments done on time travel. I'm referring specifically to actions such as the Philadelphia experiment, which interfered with the space-time continuum on the Earth and has caused disruptions in the dimensions. And the result of those disruptions were not known, were not anticipated, and still to this day has not really been studied or analyzed. The current Earth scientists don't know what damage they may have done to the dimensional curtain between the third and the fourth. And part of it is that they don't even understand what we're talking about when we talk about the third, fourth, and fifth dimension. So this has been quite dangerous. And so now we are helping, and you are helping to raise the spiritual light quotient of the planet. And there is elevation. You and the starseeds have definitely been successful in elevating parts of the Earth and parts of the planetary subconscious and parts of the mental body. But there still needs to be a global upliftment. And I want to talk some more in this lecture and question and answer about how and when and where we can work together as a global upliftment of the spiritual light energy field. Because when I said the Earth is stuck, the current violence and polarizations has overwhelmed this dimension and has really created a blockage, a spiritual blockage. It doesn't mean that your work isn't important, and many of the starseeds like yourself are spiritually advancing and working with parts of the earth, but we have before us, and many of you have before you, the idea of and the mission of transforming the earth into a higher spiritual being. Now, I know that there are many channels who are talking about the many positive energies and light that are being sent, for example, by the Pleiadians. And you could read these some of these channels, and you would think that everything is great. And but let's make a differentiation between the positive light energy that is being sent here, which is accurate. There is great positive light energy being sent here, and manifestation. Manifestation would be peace. Manifestation would be unity consciousness. And you are observing this current situation like we are. And I can tell you frankly that this planet is closer to a destructive cycle than it has ever been since the first atomic bomb was dropped in 1945. Next question, please.
Thank you, Juliano. The next question is from Patricia in New Mexico. Dear Juliano, several years ago, the Santa Fe and Taos, New Mexico groups made an Arcturian temple in a tent. As part of the project, several people contributed beautiful crystals, and we made an altar in the shape of the Arcturian tree of life. I still keep that altar and feel a strong connection to the etheric crystals. A couple of months ago, you said not to raise the individual etheric crystals which were downloaded into our PCOLs because they disrupted the major crystals which they had, and then those major crystals had to be recalibrated each time. Can we continue to use the altar, and what would be the appropriate practice? With gratitude and love, in Santa Fe, City of Light.
Well, perhaps there is some confusion as I'm listening to your question, and maybe I have been misunderstood, or maybe I didn't express it as clearly as necessary through this channel. So let me try again. What I was talking about has to do with the 12 etheric crystals. Now, we loaded or downloaded with the Arcturian Groupofforty 12 etheric crystals, and they are in many different places, such as Mount Shasta and also in Copper Canyon. I won't go through the entire list. And there's been great enthusiasm for many of the Groupofforty members in these downloading of these 12 etheric crystals. And each etheric crystal that we've downloaded was an etheric duplicate of the Arcturian crystal that is in the Arcturian crystal lake, which is a very special crystal. Now, we learned that there are enthusiastic starseeds who wanted to make more etheric crystals from the mother crystal on the Arcturian crystal lake, which would then be more than the 12. And in fact, several of the Groupofforty members throughout the planet did attempt and worked very diligently to make duplicate mother crystals in their cities of light and in their country. Now, we were not supportive of this because we said these are the basic 12 crystals, and we did not want to make duplicates of them and download them into the City of Light, but we wanted to continue to use the 12, only the 12 etheric crystals, and we still recommend that. But I acknowledge the enthusiasm that people had, and I know that they were very good intention to do this. Now, there is reasons why we wanted to limit it to 12. 12 is a sacred number, and it also has to do with the Tree of Life energy and the interactions of the 12 sacred spots that we chose with you. And what I was trying to explain is that if we made more duplicates of that, then we're getting into 13, 14, 15, and then the energy gets diluted, and we are getting into a diminishing of the powers of the Tree of Life crystal. Now, the second part of the second answer to this question is that you have buried, when you make a city of light, etheric or crystals, not etheric crystals, but actual crystals, as a way of anchoring the energies that we use in the activations. And we're not recommending that those crystals be uplifted. That they, in other words, that they stay there as the anchors. The fact that you in Santa Fe, and I know that David and Gudrun were there with you, who built the temple or a modified temple in a tent in the Tree of Life, is wonderful. And I'm glad that you continue to use it and have that Tree of Life configuration with those crystals. It's not the perfected temple structure, for example, that was built, that has been built in Serra de Bacaina in Brazil, but as you may know, they raised quite a bit of money and had quite a bit of building expertise and experience to build an actual Arcturian temple in the configuration that we had recommended, which basically was an octagon with a teepee-like structure on the top. And this Arcturian crystal temple in Brazil is becoming more activated and is already playing a major role in manifesting and holding the Arcturian light in Brazil and around the world. Now, your work there in Santa Fe is powerful, and you can link that to the Serra de Bacaina Arcturian Temple. And yes, we acknowledge and recognize and support this Arcturian crystal temple, even though it's a modified, it's not, the full temple, but it is holding temple-like energy. And the more that you are able to work, the more people that can come there and meditate. Maybe at some point it might manifest itself into a greater temple structure. I am not wanting you personally to take on that burden. There's a lot involved, but things happen spontaneously, synchronistically. And the fact that you are holding that light and that place is an important for the spiritual light quotient energy of your planetary city of light in Santa Fe, and that it can energetically connect with the 12 etheric crystals, because you have the Tree of Life crystal there in the temple, in the tent. So this is great. Now remember that the tent is a step, and at some point we are very optimistic that it can be accelerated into even something more permanent and manifest a more Arcturian light and energy. So I would say to you, what more work you need to do is just keep on holding it as a temple, and have the people come there and meditate with you and work together for holding the energies and connecting the energies with the Arcturian Crystal Temple in Brazil. Next question, please.
Juliano, the next question is from Siegfried. Hello, Juliano. The organization of this Earth's third dimensional society is a bit complex. We have political leaders. Behind the veil, we have the Illuminati. On the top part of the hierarchy, there is the Draco reptilians, the Zeta Gray, and others. Those ones are the true ruler of our society, and they claim to be the owner of this earth plane. My question is, are the reptilians and their associates still on this planet? And do they have the possibility to delay this ascension process?
Well, first, I don't agree that they are the rulers of this planet. They certainly have coexisted and have tried to take over certain people, but they are not in control. And I know that there is a great movement among many of the spiritual people on this planet who are promoting this idea that the whole Earth drama is being controlled by the reptilians. But we don't agree with that. And one thing that you must understand is that, yes, I agree about the Illuminati, I agree about the secret cabal that is behind all this, but that behind much of the Earth drama, but that is separate from the reptilians and separate from the Zetas. Now, have the Zetas tried to interfere? Have the reptilians, taken over certain bodies, physical bodies? Yes, but they are not in control. There is enough evil and darkness among the current leaders to explain the current destruction and polarizations and everything that's going on in a negative way. And so, from our perspective, there is what I call projection, that, it's not the Illuminati, but it's the reptilians, or it's the Zetas. But this projection is similar to the concept of the devil, that it's not really man, but the devil that's making man do all this, as if man doesn't have responsibility. And that's what a projection is about, trying to pretend or project the death and destruction onto a darker force outside of humanity, and this somehow relieves the responsibilities, man's responsibilities. Now, I do want to say that there is a role the reptilians are playing, and part of their role is that they are waiting for man to destroy this planet, and then they're thinking about taking it over. Because when or if humanity destroys the biosphere, which is close based on what's happening now, I'm sorry to report that, but I try to be as honest as we can based on what we see. The reptilians have taken the position, well, we can step in and live on this planet because we are able to overcome nuclear radiation. We are able to overcome some of the dark imbalances that have been created in this biosphere. And yes, there are certain people who are even in key positions who are, shall we say, reptilians are cohabitating with. But clearly, they are not in charge right now. And the Zetas are not. In fact, the Zetas have backed off quite a bit because of certain interventions that the governments have been able to make secretly to stop them. And the Zetas are fourth dimensional and are able to be overcome with some of the newer techniques that the Illuminati or Cabal have learned about. Next question, please.
Juliano, the next question is from Carol. Dear Juliano, in our prayers of love and nurturing for the earth, would it be beneficial to visualize different colors of energy for the various natural areas, i.e., deserts, rainforests, oceans, mountains, and grasslands? Thank you.
Well, color therapy is an important part of healing, and it's an important part of healing the earth. One of the things that is reported by starseeds when they visit the fifth dimension is the intensity of colors. For example, some of you may have had cataract surgery, and that when a clear lens is put in, replacing the old lens that's cloudy, you see bright colors that were there, but now they're clearer. And there has been a tremendous fading of life force energy in the biosphere. And there has been diminishing of colors. I know of people who do travel and have traveled backwards in time. Incidentally, it is possible to go backwards in time. I know that there are some people who think it's impossible, but for the purpose of our discussion, we can say that there are ways to travel back in time. And we have taken some people back in time and on the earth. And when we take them back, they cannot believe, even if we go back 200 years, how intense the colors were of then in the biosphere compared to now, which is attenuated. The colors are attenuated. The colors are cloudy when you compare them. So this is part of the damage. This is a sign of the damage that has been done to this biosphere. And again, we're the starting point of man's direct influence in negatively influencing this biosphere. We are putting at the start of the nuclear age, 1945. That's when there's been a great shift, and that's when the great shift began. So yes, I think you're on the right track, sending certain life-giving, life colors, energetic colors to different areas is an excellent idea, and will be well received by the Earth's biosphere, which is in great need of upliftment. Next question, please.
Juliano, the next question is from Reiner. And he says, in 2008, at the height of the Great Recession, Satoshi Nakamoto published the white paper that launched Bitcoin and changed the meaning of long-term wealth in the world. As countries around the world spiral into financial chaos with trillions of dollars being printed every year, his timing couldn't have been more perfect. Is this an intervention by the fifth dimension to help people get our species to the next stage of our evolution?
The answer is no, that the Bitcoins is not fifth dimensional. The idea of the Bitcoins was an attempt to move the power and wealth out of one group, and for the purpose of this discussion, we'll call it the Illuminati or the Cabal, because people behind the Bitcoins understood that there was a group that controls the world finances and therefore is controlling the world. The idea was to create an alternative monetary system. Yes, that's an interesting idea, and maybe it has some relevance for higher dimensional possibilities, but the problem is that Bitcoin is also subject to corruption. And there has been recently uncovered corruption that has caused many people to lose millions and millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars. And I refer, for example, to a trial that was going on, may still be going on in the United States, by one financier who was corrupt, and therefore this system does not solve or is not moving the world into any spiritual level, but in fact has been used as a manipulation and a way of controlling an alternative financial system, but it is not based on higher fifth dimensional thoughts, service, or humanitarian goals. Next question, please.
Juliano, the next question is from Bianca. Dear Juliano, thank you for all the work you have been doing with us. I would love to learn from you how else we can help expand humanity's level of consciousness at this critical time. As you know, I am working with your technology to help others, but I feel like there could be something else we could do to expand the awareness and consciousness level. Thank you.
Well, the basic task before us is to create world consciousness for Homo Omega and to create somehow events that will bring together the consciousness of the globe in an event. And this is a major task, and it does require huge efforts. I would say that the task that each of you can do more of is world meditations, world global meditations, seeking events, spiritual events, creation of spiritual events, either locally in your community or globally. And that we believe that such events at some point can go what you call viral, unquote. And viral refers to the fact that suddenly thousands or even a million people want to participate. And we are reaching a state of desperation where people want to do more but don't know what to do. The ability of creating a consciousness and a vital global event can create major shifts in this whole extinction pattern and degradations of the biosphere, and can contribute to upliftment of group consciousness that can be a stepping stone towards Homo Omega. My answer to your question then is to use your skills to work together to create global spiritual events. Next question, please.
Juliano, this will be the final question, and it is from Antonio. Based on the studies and practices of Arcturian teachings, I understand that the fifth dimensional being co-creates its third dimensional aspect on the planet for its evolution using its DNA energy, where all its genetic information from its cosmic origin is stored. When the third dimensional being incarnates on the planet, it needs to continue its expansion of consciousness, seeking to unlock the DNA codes that are still locked. From the moment the third dimensional aspect, with the help of its ascended masters, recognizes and works on its conscious expansion, it starts its regeneration into its fifth dimensional being, having a third dimensional experience. Can I assume that a being working with the fifth dimensional energies and high consciousness that is synchronized with the ascended masters and its soul family and unlocking all its DNA codes will complete the transformation of the bodies that make up the third dimensional aspect, achieving the ascension and being able to leave samsara. Could you better explain how the transformation process of the physical body happens? Because sometimes it seems like it's almost impossible to leave samsara.
Well, our understanding of samsara is the graduation from the earth. And that would be something that would be more readily understood instead of using the Hindu word samsara, or at least that's our interpretation. So when you graduate from the earth, you are freed from the earth incarnational cycle. You are absolutely correct that this is a beautiful question. You are absolutely correct that it almost seems impossible, especially when I explain to you this process of ascension, because in a sense, graduating from the earth requires enlightenment, as it is described in Hinduism and Buddhism. And enlightenment, by definition, is being free of the earth incarnational cycle and being free of the constraints of the third dimension. And so, even now, when you are doing all the meditations, working with the Groupofforty, and becoming aware of your past lives, you still might feel like you do not have enough or to complete this. And I asked you to each ask yourself the question, what am I supposed to be learning now on the earth? Because in order to graduate from the earth, in order to graduate from the reincarnational cycle, you have to graduate. And in order to graduate, you have to be able to finish your earth lessons. So what are the earth lessons that you have to learn? And it's different for each of you. And so that's the first place I would start. But then the next state is you can be doing everything right, but still you may feel or need 3 or 4 more lifetimes to complete the earth lessons. And maybe you're not even close to the state of enlightenment. I mean, that state certainly is difficult to achieve. And here's my answer, and here's what I want you to think about. The ascension and the freedom of opening up all these states of consciousness and unlocking the codes of ascension and going into these higher states and graduating is a dual process. It involves you working as you are to unlock all this, but the second part is there's going to be an ascension event, and that ascension event has been described as the intersection of the dimensions. That means that you do need an upliftment. Even when you're working as hard as you can, it may not be enough. I understand that. I mean, each of you are not going to become the Buddha or on that level, but with the intersection of the dimensions, which will begin the ascension, there will be a energetic upliftment. There will be an energetic charge that's in addition to all your other spiritual work that you can use and will use because of the preparation we're now doing, that will uplift you, that you can use to uplift yourself. So you're going to be interacting with the fifth dimension. There's going to be an intersection that you will be able to use, and that intersection energy and your work together will create the necessary energy field that will accelerate your physical body, will accelerate you into a state of shimmering, that will accelerate you into a transformational state so that you can ascend and go into the fifth dimension. I am Juliano. Good day.